Hey guys, just thought I'd show you how to clean the grounds for the TCM. If that's something that interests you, here you go. Do I think it's going to fix all your problems? No. Do I think it's something good to do? Something that you should do before replacing parts in your transmission? Yeah. Yeah, because you might find a loose or damaged or corroded ground somewhere. So without further ado, let's do this. Here are some tools I have laid out. I've got a 3/8 and quarter-inch ratchet, 7mm, 8mm, 10mm, 13mm. And I have an impact just to help me here and there. And I have some dielectric grease. You can also use electrical grease. And I have Scotch-Brite and some sandpaper, 60 grit. Just something to help eat away any corroded paint or anything. You don't necessarily need gloves and all that, but you will need a tripod if you plan on filming. Okay, enough talking. Let's start tearing this apart. So there's the battery. I'm sorry if the lighting's not perfect. It's early in the morning and it's foggy out. And I'm not at work, so yeah. All right. I'm going to take off the positive terminal because I plan on removing the negative on this end only over here. So all right, that's loose. Go ahead and swing her out of the way. Get it somewhere that it's not going to pop back up and touch. That was a 10mm. Why don't we start with this one before we tear anything too much apart here. This right here, 13mm. That is the main ground that comes off the battery. Cleaning and inspecting it will potentially help you. Either way, like anything else on this video here, it's just a good idea to do. If you've got a very intermittent TCM issue and you've had 1, 2, or 3 OEM TCMs that you put in and it's still once or twice a year having an issue, I mean, go ahead and clean the ground. That all these grounds that I'm going to show you here, that might help your issue. Okay, I've got my 13mm on one of these ratcheting sticks here. Go ahead and pull that out all the way. This is where having the positive terminal disconnected is going to help you, because with this ground loose, it would arc right now if it was still connected, so just keep that in mind. That's why I took the positive off first. All right, make sure you put this somewhere safe. If you lose it, I mean, you can just put a regular bolt in there this size, but the reason that this is here is for jump starting. But, all right. You may be able to notice there actually is some corrosion on here. The lighting's not picking it up really well. It's just minor. It's a good idea to clean these up once in a while. And I'm going to also sand some of the paint here off just to increase ground contact. And while I'm at it, just go ahead and rub some sandpaper on this ground bolt here and clean it up. Just clean all this up here. Scotch-Brite. Because why not? No, it's a good cheap way to clean items. So is sandpaper, but this is more durable. I have both just to help. All right, I'm actually kind of proud of that. Just give it a little, and after that, I'm going to put a little bit of grease on it. A little bit of dielectric compound there. And if you have a tap and die or thread chaser, it wouldn't hurt to run that down in there, although the threads were protected while this bolt was in there, so any corrosion or debris would be minimal in there. So at this point, just go ahead and clean this terminal up here, front and back, the same manner here. See, all right, that's a good angle of the corrosion I found on that there. So good thing I'm doing this. This Scotch-Brite here just completely ate that off of there. It's perfect for this. Okay, that's clean. A little bit there still. And I did get the back already. See? All right. Got a dab of dielectric on my finger. Like I said, you can also use, let me think here. What was that? Electrical grease. You can also use electrical grease on this. Same thing. Well, same function and purpose of what we're doing here. There we go. That's nice and lubricated. Next, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and just remove the surface paint off of here, just around where the ground bolt's going to go. Going to use 60 grit sandpaper here. Be patient with it. Oh, that's good enough. All right, so I wiped it off as well, and I'm going to go ahead and rub dielectric, just kind of anywhere I took the paint off, because it's going to serve another purpose other than what we're doing here, and that is to prevent rust now that the paint has been removed. So I'm just going to liberally lather everywhere I sanded there. Perfect. All right. And I even got some in the threads here. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Just put some in the threads when you run the bolt in. Okay, let's get this back together here. It's all cleaned up and greased properly. And make sure you start this by hand, 5, 6, 7 threads, just to make sure it doesn't cross thread. Get my 13mm wrench and ratchet and socket here. Run it down all the way. Make sure the tang stays in the hole on this side. It's a locator. Let me show you the final torque here that I'm going to do. Zoom you out. Good. You don't have to go crazy with it. Definitely clean your battery terminals, your ground here. If there's any corrosion or anything on it, clean that. Take it off and scrub it down just like we did here. And you can put dielectric on your battery terminals as well, or electrical grease. But yeah, definitely clean your battery terminals. I'm going to choose not to do that at this time. I just did a clutch job, and while this was out, I scrubbed the terminals on the inside. And they do sell battery terminal brushes that are designed to fit down in the post, in the holes here and around the post. So definitely do that, positive and negative. Okay, so with that ground right there back on and torqued to spec and all cleaned up, let's go ahead and pull the airbox out, shall we? Most of these are 7mm on the clamp, pulling the hose on here. Loosen this clamp on the throttle body all the way off there. Well, don't dislocate the clamp, just loosen enough to slide this off. Okay, anyway, okay, I've got that clamp loosened there a little bit. And let's go ahead and disconnect the breather tubes on the airbox. Disconnect the mass airflow sensor, pull up on that red tab. Squeeze the release tab on it right here, and it'll be off. And then pull this out. Okay, to put that out of the way. And at this point, your focus is going to have an upper flap here more than likely. Just go ahead and pop it out of the hole, slide it up, and then you're going to have this lower flap that you need to pop out real quick. Done. Grab this hose off the throttle body, pull out, come over here, pop the airbox out of the grommet. Okay. And at this point, grab right here, pull straight out. Sit it somewhere nice and clean. All right, and here we go. This ground right here. Get you a better view here. All right, so this ground right there, and this ground right here. Those two you want to clean. Now, if you want to, this ground over here in the front that I showed you, that runs all the way down to the bell housing on the side near the starter, and it is fastened onto a bell housing stud with a 13mm nut. More than likely it's okay, but just you can go down there if you want to. Just follow the cable down from that ground and make sure it's not loose or damaged, and most likely you'll be fine, and all you need to do is clean up here. These grounds are both 10mm bolts on my car, but they may be 8s for you. It just depends. Also, it will help to take this this thing off of here too, which is part of the lower portion of the airbox. It is a silencer of sorts that will give you more access to clean this ground here. It's just so I'm going to take this 10mm bolt off, this 10mm bolt off, and that 10mm bolt off, and remove all that. All right, boys, let's get to it. 9 minutes and 18 seconds. Goodness me. I'm sorry, guys. Alright, so with that middle one out of the way, I'm just going to go ahead and pull this whole silencer out from the airbox, put it somewhere inside. Go ahead and remove this last ground bolt. It's going to fight me, break it loose by hand. Okay. Got a ratchet with a 10mm. Take it out by hand. Alright, so that ground bolt is out as well. And here's the two grounds. Go ahead and repeat the procedure from up top and scrub the terminals front and back. And remove a little bit of the paint right here. Make sure the threads are not full of paint and stuff like that. So, yeah, should be good there. Just do that. The bolt on the far forward one here, I had to break loose my hand, is a bigger size, just so you know. Don't mix them up, even though it's not going to be possible, because it's not going to go in the other holes. All right. Doing the cleaning here. Rubbing the Scotch-Brite on the terminals. If you need something more aggressive, get the sandpaper. Getting underneath and cleaning that as well. Both sides of the terminals. Now I'm going to go through and remove just a little bit of paint around here. You don't have to strip the paint where the airbox lower portion goes, just here and here. All right. If this is helpful, please consider subscribing. I've got a lot more focus videos for these transmissions. I've got a whole playlist for them, and this one is going in that playlist. So, just worth considering. Thank you. All right, guys. I've got bare metal showing on there and here. And I put dielectric compound on the bare metal, liberally. Put it on the terminals here and on the bolts. All right, I'm going to go ahead and reassemble, get the bolts back in. Make sure the 2 locator tangs on each strap remain in its designated hole like that while you're tightening. Okay. Okay, I'm going to go through and torque these by hand, just get them nice and snug, like that. And that one. Okay, this one was a little tighter because it's a bigger bolt, so I'm going to just give it a nice little extra snugness there. All right. There you have it. Get the Scotch-Brite pad off the cable there. So those are cleaned up and tight. And if you leave these loose, you will have transmission issues. Because I've seen somebody who left this ground loose right here. And it caused various concerns, which is difficult to diagnose at first for me. Don't forget your lower airbox thingy here. You don't have to torque that. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get this air box back in. I'll show you. There are 2 grommets right here. There's one right there, straight down in the middle of the camera. See that? And then once again, in the middle of the camera, straight down, but behind that tape hanging down. Make sure. All right, so there's just designated holes here that pop in the grommets. So I'm going to slide this down in there, get everything on top of it. You'll have a flap to get on top right here. Get it over towards the right. Get the purge valve out of the way. Slide this down first onto the throttle body. Get this lined up on the grommet here. And you'll feel this one pop in. See? All right, that is in all the way. All right, now a way to double check that the airbox is fully seated is to pull up right here. And that is firm. It is fully seated, good to go. This back in here. Inspect for debris. All right, good. Pop this in. Pop that on here. Sorry for the lighting. All right, and lastly, get that on. And then you'll be able to get your other flap on right here and tighten down that clamp. All right, I've got that clamp snug down. All good. Get this positive battery terminal on. Zip. Okay. Battery cover, if I can talk. It's supposed to slide into this back portion here, but that's dislocated on mine. No big deal. I don't feel like putting it back together. All right, at this point, if you're trying to diagnose any codes, go ahead and clear them out with your scan tool. Just get a little cheap scan tool, clear codes. Take it for a nice long ride. After you clear codes, make sure your transmission's shifting all right and you don't have any lights or warning messages coming on. If you do and you're having it before, just continue with diagnosis. If you didn't have an issue before and you do now, just go back, double check your work, make sure everything's tight and nothing's damaged. All right, have yourself a great day. I hope this helps. Happy riding and happy dual clutch automatic DPS6 transmissions to you all.